Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Well, hello and welcome. It is the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, and I'm Dave Parkinson.
Yeah, and I'm Steve Beach, and as always, we've got your weekly roundup of all the big talking points from the National Conference League.
Plenty to get into this week. There was late drama, some big scores, a couple of standout individual performances all across the divisions as well.
Yeah, and we'll be hearing from Lee Cunningham, head coach of Clockface Miners, after their strong win over Thornhill. The Miners are right in the hunt at the moment, and Lee's got plenty to say about his team's progress.
Yeah, 11 minutes of an interview there with him, so he's an absolute crackerjack of one, to be fair. We've also got, by comparison, a quick word with Thornhill Trojans man Sam Ratcliffe. Now, I was chatting to Sam for nearly 7 minutes, so as well, we're two really in-depth interviews this week, which I'm really looking forward to sharing. Now, Sam crossed for their only try on the day. It was a tough outing, but always honest, and it was really good stuff. Really good to speak to Sam.
Yeah, and also we'll take you through all the key results in all 4 divisions, from the Premiership all the way down to Division 3, with highlights, try scorers, and a few talking points of our own.
And you know what? I see Rugby Union have gone and changed their top division to the Prem.
Oh.
We've been calling NCL Prem all season.
They'll be calling themselves Rugby Union next, won't they?
Anyway, let's get down to it. Starting with the Prem and the Premier Division, and that last minute winner from West Bowling. And it was a bit of a titanic clash, this one, wasn't it? That saw West Bowling edge out leaders Siddal by 11 points to 10. That was thanks to a last minute drop goal by Harry Williams. Siddal had led 6 points to 2 at half-time after Conor McCallum crossed, but Williams' all-round kicking display, with 2 penalties and that decisive drop, completed a major scalp on the road. The game was a tactical arm wrestle, with both sides defending resolutely. Williams' drop goal crowned a composed display that saw Bowling claw back control late on. So for Siddal, they had tries from McCallum and Williams, goal from Greenwood with the 1, and then for West Bowling there was a try for Bartle, and those 2 goals and the drop goal from Harry Williams.
Good win, that, wasn't it, for West Bowling?
Fantastic win, yeah.
It's not surprising to a certain degree, but because we've said about them, they've been thereabouts with everybody, haven't they?
I think what it does show, it shows that, because we were starting to wonder whether it was going to end up being a 2-horse race for the title, with the form that West Hull have shown over the course of the season so far as well. And Siddal, for me, have just been that little bit better than West Hull so far in the campaign. However, there's another challenger now, isn't there? West Bowling have really, dragged themselves into that, and it's a 3-way challenge for who's going to finish in top spot now, which is brilliant for people like us when we're going through these results, and we could be seeing plenty of topsies and turvies over the next few weeks, couldn't we? As they sort of like almost
fighting for position, aren't they?
You know what it might end up being?
Go on.
It might end up looking like a load of dolphins. When you go to these sea mammal places, and you see the dolphins sort of jockeying for position and jumping over each other. I reckon that's what the top 3 of this Premier Division will be over the next few weeks.
It could well be. That'll be interesting.
Dolphins, Dolphins of the National Conference League. So I'm already calling it Siddal, West Bowling.
Come on, you Dolphins!
And of course, West Hull.
Yeah, certainly. Speaking of West Hull, they consolidated second place with a 44 points to 12 away demolition of Lee Miners Rangers. I think we called that last week, didn't we?
We did,
to be honest. Despite an early contest, the visitors dominated the second half, with Elliot Jones and Lennox Greens cutting through Lee's defence, while Wilkinson contributed 2 tries and 6 goals. West Hull's ability to finish sets clinically was on full display. The forwards laid a dominant platform, giving halves time to carve out space, exploiting a tiring Lee defence. So scorers there for Lee were Faramond and Maloney, with tries and 2 goals from Tyra. From West Hull, tries came from Wilkinson, 2 for Verity, Maskey, Jones, 2 for him, Lazenby and Green, and 6 goals for Wilkinson.
I want to praise here Elliot Jones, because he's a guy that we haven't really talked about a lot this season, but I do know Having spent a bit of time with him in previous England Community Lions camps, he is a decent player. He's a really good. He's good at fullback. He's good at halfback as well. So he offers, a real point of difference for me as far as Westall are concerned. Fantastic player indeed.
Yeah, we always think if you've got a player like that that can play well in a couple of positions, I mean, that stands you really in good stead, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. And like you said, we'd kind of picked this out as being an away victory last week, and I think we'd actually said we could see it being quite convincing. And unfortunately, Lee Miners have just found themselves in a horrible position this season, where a lot of their more experienced heads are now no longer around, and it's a tough place to bring young players through. Is the National Conference League? We've seen it with other teams. I'm sure that as time goes on, they'll probably appreciate the fact that they've had this really tough upbringing, if you like, into the National Conference League, and I'm sure that they'll come back good at some point in time with Lee Miners Rangers.
Yeah, and they're honest when we speak to them, when we've covered them. They're honest about what the plight is like, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's one of those where the best of the players always end up signing and end up in scholarship systems at like St Helens, Lee, and Wigan, of course. The best of the players quite often don't actually make it through to that first team. But you've got to credit Westall for putting in a professional performance at community game level. There you go. Thatto Heath also put in a great performance. This was away at Wath Brow Hornets. They won 46 points to 20, completing the double in style. There was a brace from Holroyd and a strong outing from Ryan Horton, who kicked 7 goals and scored a try, ensuring that the Crusaders were always in control. Crusaders controlled the tempo, turning defensive solidity into attacking fluency. Who wrote that?
It's easy for you, sir.
Holroyd and Horton were particularly effective in exposing gaps on the fringes. So for Wath Brow, they had tries from Scott, couple from Jeremy, one from McCourt, 2 goals from the boot of Greg Rooney, and for Thatto they had Saunders with a try, Holroyd with 2, Ashurst, Lee and Horton all scoring 1 each, Speakman grabbing 2, with Horton jolly on the spot with 7 goals.
And he was the same in the match we covered, if you remember. Didn't he score a hat-trick that day?
I think he did, yeah. It was all in the space of about 12 or 15 minutes, wasn't it? He was unplayable in that first quarter, and it does sound like he's had a right royal outing again.
And obviously Thatto Heath Crusaders winning away from home,
which we've not been able to comment on particularly often this season, have we? But generally, when they have won away from home, they've won quite big, haven't they? And as I say, that's an impressive win. That if you put in 46 points up on Wath Brow Hornets, you're doing plenty of things right in the game.
We certainly have. Dewsbury Moor Maroons, though, they grabbed a second straight win.
On a roll.
Edging York Acorn 10 points to 4 away from home. George Woodcock kicked 2 penalties before converting Luke Adamson's crucial try in a gritty first half effort. Acorn could only muster a second half try in reply. Dewsbury Moor's structured play and early scoreboard pressure proved pivotal. Despite a second half lull, their defence absorbed late Acorn pressure, and the scorers were York Acorn try for Green, and Dewsbury Moor it was tries for Adamson and goals 3 from Woodcock.
You know what, they might still go down Dewsbury Moor Maroons, and I'm sure that they won't like me saying it because there is a few games left of the season, so they could get another few wins under the belt. But I think they've timed the run a little bit late in the season. But the way that they are performing now, we're talking about them in really glowing terms. And there's times this season when they look like they were going to pick up a win, but yet seem to drop away, or the other team seemed to score a couple of late tries on them, or they were involved in close run results. Now they're starting to get up to speed with what's happening in the Premier Division, and it's just going to be the lack of games, I think, that will count against them. But they still have enough games, believe it or not, to really still turn it around.
Yeah, well, what they've got to do, I mean, I know it's not the right phrase to use from a rugby point of view, but they've got to go down swinging, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? They've got to, okay, we've got nothing to lose now. I mean, every game is, let's go out, let's give it our best shot. they know they can come away with wins now. They've got a few under the belt. So, go at it. And that is a really, really good win. York Acorn, they've been a bit hit and miss this season, haven't they?
They have. They've been. There's a bit of the Thatto Heath about them, isn't there? Really, where they've had a couple of really good results and a couple of losses where you thought, where's that come from? And I think there's a few sides that are a bit like that. We're going to mention Rochdale Mayfield in just a minute or so, who are also, you can class them as one of those sides. So for me, you've got sort of about 4 sides that are really struggling for consistency within this division, and they are Thatto Heath, Wath Brow Hornets, York Acorn, and Rochdale Mayfield. And probably as well, you can also add in the Lot Lane, because I think they're a better team than what they're showing and what they have shown over recent weeks. So, that's half the division virtually who are, beating each other and are very, very close to each other in the league table. Yeah. We've not seen a run like this in the Premier Division for a few years now, and I'm all for it, because it means that you've got a quality division if everybody can beat everybody, or everybody stands a chance of beating everybody.
Well, not only that, from a spectator point of view, there's drama all the way to the end by the sounds of it, because this is going to run. Certainly, it usually runs to the last day from a positions point of view. We know it, where you get a couple of wins. I think. Last season there was a couple of games where the teams actually won and should have won, sort of to get them out of trouble, as it were, and suddenly points difference pulled them down, and was against them. So that's how tight it can be, and certainly from a Premier point of view, this has been so open. Even though Siddal and Westall, etc., have been there up, sort of battling those top spots, those others behind with beating each other, they're still thereabouts, and once they're in the 6 on the day, which shows you on here, because of they've gone away and win some really good matches. I mean, I know they lose some daft ones for various teams, but they know they've got the capability within them.
Let's also talk as well about Waterhead Warriors, because to be fair, they are bucking the trend of the promoted sides this season, aren't they? And they're keeping a playoff charge alive, and they did it courtesy of a 26-10 away win against Rochdale Mayfield. So we covered early doors in our season the game between these two over at Waterhead, and it looks like with this one,
I think it was the first game, wasn't it?
But it looks like with this one, this is basically showing there's no flash in the pan with this Waterhead side. They're a good team, we know that, don't we? And in this 26-10 win over Rochdale Mayfield, scrum half Keegan Brennan was instrumental. He not only landed 5 goals, but he guided play expertly. Mayfield showed resistance but conceded 2 late tries as Waterhead pulled away. Waterhead's composed kicking game and ruck control wore down Mayfield, who struggled to break the line, but Brennan's leadership and goal kicking were top class throughout. So for Mayfield, they had tries from Ewan Higgs and Reisman. Ewan Higgs also adding a goal as well. And for the Warriors, there were tries from Matty Owen, Jensen Hamilton, Harrison, Dodd and Murphy, with 5 goals from the boot of Brennan.
Yeah, as you said, they've really bucked the trend, Waterhead Warriors. That first game that we went to,
seems a long time ago now, doesn't it?
It does, but it was one of those. I think we were a bit not apprehensive, because we knew they're a good side. We knew they could, sort of certainly, put a show up, as it were. But without Rochdale Mayfield, old stage, as it were, they might just buck the trend here. But they didn't, and it was a really, really good game. And they've gone on from strength to strength, and they've gone away from home here against you would have thought Mayfield at home would have been a tougher prospect than the earlier one. But that's a really, really good win.
They now find themselves in 4th spot in the league as well, now 3 points clear of 5th placed Wath Brow Hornets, who are just a point ahead of Thatto Heath and Hunslet.
Speaking of Hunslet, they returned to form with 30 points to 12 win over Loch Lane. Despite trailing at half-time, the reigning champs scored 24 unanswered points in the second period, led by a brace from Jake Dearden and 5 goals from Jordan Gale. After a sluggish start, Hunslet's second half performance was clinical in momentum building. Gale dictated play with astute passing and a reliable boot. So scores there were Hunslet, tries for McClelland, 2 for Dearden. Gale and Haig also weighing in with 1 each, and Gale with 5 goals. Lot Lane, Coulson and Whittam with the tries, and 2 goals for Fozzard.
We can't not talk about Hunslet, who have totally changed their season around, haven't they, from when they were looking almost certainties a few weeks ago to lose their Premier Division status. You know what? You wouldn't bet against them, would you, going on a run right to the end of the season? And, when we're looking at it, we've got 6 regular games left of the season now. Okay. And I reckon they win all of those. That takes them to 22 points. But I can't see the other teams winning 6 out of 6.
Yeah.
So I'm going to... They are. I think they're going to make top 6.
Do you think so?
I am positive they're going to make top 6.
And then once they're in the top 6, you've got
anything can happen.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I think they won it from 5th spot last year.
Yeah.
So you won't back against them going all the way and winning it from 6th, which would be even more unprecedented.
It certainly would.
It's again their form perhaps typifies what unpredictability we've seen in the Premier Division this year.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased to see Jake getting over for a couple of tries there, Jake Dearden. I know he hasn't played too many games, for Hunslet this season, but he was very good out in Australia.
Yeah.
For the Open Age England Community Lions at the end of last season. So it's good to see him, finding a try-scoring groove, and certainly if they can get a couple of those more experienced heads back out there for the next few weeks, there's no way I'm betting against them. Okay, moving into Division 1 now, and it was an evenly matched contest that saw Ince Rosebridge and Oldham St Anne's play out, get this, a 28-all draw. We've missed a cracker here, Steve, haven't we? Ince thought they had it sewn up with a huge double and 6 goals from the boot of Mason Fillingham. But Matty Whitehead's late penalty rescued a point for the visitors in a game that swung back and forth and 2 and however many ways you can describe that. Both sides definitely showcased attacking flair and moments of frailty in defence. Whitehead's cool-headed penalty, though, highlighted his maturity under pressure, and a reminder that one ended 28 points each. Ince Rosebridge scoring tries through Penny, Hughes grabbing 2, Kyle Malone grabbing 1 with those 6 goals from the boot of Fillingham. And then for Oldham St Anne's, there was a hat-trick from Rose, 1 from Cashin, 1 from Hollidge, Whitehead kicking those important 4 goals. That sounds like a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think we mentioned last week as well, Ince Rosebridge using that, sort of gun in their arsenal, as it were, have used on the wing, going in with another 2 tries.
I think that must take him up to about 15-16 for the season now, mustn't it? I'll check it out after, and let you know.
Yeah, well, Wigan St Judes, they were up against Crossfields and they ran riot in a 54 points to 14 demolition. Brogan Turner scored a first half hat-trick and Danny Cassidy bowed 2 tries and 5 goals in a polished team display. Judes dominated the ruck and moved the ball crisply, stretching Crossfields across the park. Turner's early triple set the tone in a ruthless first half blitz. The try scorers there for Wigan St Judes were Turner with 3, and we had McNally, Fagin, Cassidy with 2, Parkinson, Dugdale, Brady and Davis also had weighing in 1 each, and Cassidy with 5 goals. For Crossfields, it was 2 tries for Abram, and I managed to get 1 goal as well. Now, if only they'd have listened to me last week when I mentioned about keeping an eye on Danny Cassidy after we'd finished our interview with Rob Campbell. I asked him, I said, who have you got next week? And he said St Jude's. And I said, well, if you can keep Mr Cassidy quiet, you might have a shout. But to be honest, I don't think they'll be too disappointed. I think they have got other teams in and around them to concentrate on.
Oh, you're joking.
They
if you get 50 points stuck on you, you're not going to be like celebrating from rooftops, are you?
No, but you've got to be abysmal like, and you've got to put that on one side. Who have you got next week? And if it's certainly, I'm not saying you you don't go out to win, but at the end of the day, if you want to stay in the league from where they are at the moment, they've got to concentrate on the teams that they can try and have some real influence on. They've got no influence on St Jude's, have they?
I said that I would come back to how many tries, by the way.
Yep.
That Callum Hughes has scored 17 tries in 10 appearances.
Wow.
I mean, that's he's really gunning for it, isn't he, this season, and doing fantastic stuff. Being a fine, upstanding member of the Danny Cassidy Fans Association,
President
of the club. Danny scored 12 tries, 43 goals, and 2 drop goals this season. He's on 136 points from 13 games. So the form that he had last season, where he scored a load of points in Division 2, he's carried that forward into the First Division.
Can't argue with that,
and again, when you look around, and for me, this is why Wigan St Judes are sitting top of the league. So you look at those scorers, and then you look at the sum of the scorers on the stats sheet, and they're very evenly split.
Yeah.
So you've got Ince Bridge, who obviously play out to Callum Hughes.
Yeah.
You don't go scoring 17 tries in 10 games if you're not playing out to him. However, it's a bit more evenly split between the Wigan St Judes players. So the next 4 players for tries, they're all St Judes players. So you've got Danny Cassidy, Connor Parkinson, Rhys Matthews, Joey Brady's got 9 this season, Rhys McNally's got 9, and then just a little bit further down, Dante Morley Samuels has got 8 tries in 11 appearances. So that is why they are where they are. There's a good spread of players that are doing the business and getting the all-important tries, but there's not anybody running away with it. And they've been a breath of fresh air to Division 1, to be honest. St Judes.
Yeah. I think that Judes have been to Division 1 what
Waterhead have been to.
Waterhead have been to. I was trying to think of Waterhead's. Exactly the same sort of scenario. In fact, when you watch them play, you forget about that they are the team that have come up. You think they are the team that have been in the.
Well, they play with an air of confidence about them, don't they?
Yeah.
And play some good rugby from what we have seen this season, and obviously the league position attests to it, doesn't it? Another team whose league position attests to the sort of rugby that they're playing at the moment is Heworth, and they kept up their top 3 charge with a commanding 38 points to 0 victory against Wigan St Pat's. The home side scored early and then often, with Sturdy and Barnard each claiming 2 tries. Heworth's forwards laid a strong foundation, allowing their backs to pick out the spaces out wide, and their line speed and aggressive defence left Wigan St Pat's with no answers. So no points for Wigan St Pat's away from home, and for Heworth there were tries from Burton, Allen, Barnard got 2, Sturdy got 2, Jeffrey got their other, and then, as we've seen throughout the season, I think it's whoever's nearest to the ball ends up having a shot at goal for Heworth. Allen's kicked 2, Jeffrey's kicked 1, Rutland's kicked 2 as well. But there's a nice spread there, to be honest, and it's unusual when you're looking at the scorers for Division 1. And you don't really see that many Heworth players until much further down the list. So you've got Billy Sturdy, 7 tries, Harrison Briggs, 7 tries, and they're the only 2 players that are in that top. And I don't think we mentioned them. Like in Sturdy with his 2. Yeah. But other than that, so they're doing it again, spreading the love, spreading the scores, spreading the tries, and definitely splitting those goals up.
Yeah, and these 2 teams, if you remember, Wigan St Pat's at the beginning of the season, they were we were talking about the Wigan triple threat, weren't they, with St Pat's, Ince Rosebridge and St Judes, and they've fallen away a little bit, Wigan St Pat's, haven't they? Where Heworth were sort of, I suppose, bubbling underneath, but they're starting to rise.
Yeah, they are, and they're a class side of Heworth, absolute class, and they will have a big say in the end of season playoffs.
It's going to be really good.
They're going to make it. I'm sure, and again, I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying, and no doubt some people will be saying he's a gobby so and so this Dave tonight. He's obviously got his crystal ball out and he's looking into the future. But I think it would be difficult to rule against Heworth in the sort of form that they're finding themselves in. of really pushing the top two of the division.
Yeah, and speaking of another team that have slowly gone about the business, Stanningley avenged an early season loss to Egremont with a 34 points to 12 win. They took control before half-time with a double from Flannery and Butterill before Aviard and Sykes wrapped up things. Stanningley backline flourished, linking with clinical timing. They neutralised Egremont's key threats early, used structured set play to devastating effect. Stanningley tries came from 2 from Aviard, 2 from Flannery, 2 from Butterfield, and 1 from Sykes. 3 goals from Flannery. Egremont, it was Glenn and Conway with tries, and Busher weighed in with 2 goals. So Stanningley, again, same as we said, they've sort of... from when we saw them at Judes at the beginning of the season, they've gone about the business really well, haven't they? And sitting in sort of not too bad a position really.
Yeah, Egremont meanwhile they're trying to consolidate themselves within the division now. They find themselves just 4 points ahead of Crossfields. So if we were talking about Crossfields having to play Egremont again, then that would be a 4-pointer, but I think they played them twice already, so that one's gone from the calendar now. So, Crossfields are going to have to get the results from elsewhere, aren't they, to look at trying to overtake Egremont, and meanwhile Egremont are probably 2 wins shy, I think, of being able to stop up and breathe a little bit more easily. Although having said that, there are still, another 8 games generally for everybody to play in this division.
Still a lot of points up for grabs,
still a lot of points up for grabs, and like we say, you had a few more wins or a few more losses, and again, there's a very topsy-turvy nature of this division as well, isn't there? Which there always is in Division 1. And talking about a team that is also in mixed form, we spoke about the disappointment of Kells the other week when they went over to Wigan St Pat's and turned up what for them was a disappointing performance, and I was asking about who they were up against, sort of next. They were saying, Alton Raiders. We know ourselves, and certainly you do, in having seen Alton Raiders, that they're a side that just never gives up. And Kells had to work out a way of overcoming a stubborn Alton Raiders side, and they did by 26 points to 12. Harley Nelson's second half couple of tries broke the game open after a tight first hour. Ross Gainford also scored and added 3 goals. Kells stayed composed in a tight affair, grinding out territory and exploiting second phase play. Nelson's late tries were a result of pressure building phases. It's very rugby union in the way that is. Yeah. I like how you've done that, to be honest. So for Kells, couple of tries for Watson, couple of tries for Nelson, Gainford getting over for a try and also adding 3 goals. And for the visitors from Yorkshire, Horan and Edmiston going over for tries, with Perkins goaling twice.
And as we sort of wander towards the footer division, we saw Woolston Rovers, who are certainly in a mire, as it were, and they're up against Shawcross Sharks. Well, Shawcross Sharks kept up their playoff pursuit with a 22 points to 12 win over Woolston Rovers. The match was level at half-time, but second half tries from Barker and Hashim proved decisive. Shawcross showcased slick ball movements and exploited Rovers' missed tackles. The second half dominance stemmed from the better discipline and repeat sets. Scorers from Woolston were Files and Proudlove with tries, 2 goals from Brown, and Shawcross Sharks tries from Stevenson, Baines and Barker, plus Ashen, and Eckford was on hand with 3 goals. And
that is a decent result for Shawcross. That obviously at home, Woolston are a little bit of a different beast, aren't they? They've been competitive in games this season. However, it's another loss, unfortunately, for them, isn't it? And there's just no end. There's no end in sight to these struggles, is there, unfortunately?
It's getting further and further away, isn't it?
Shawcross, they're still pushing top 4, aren't they? And you know what? They'll fancy themselves, won't they, of being able to do that. I think there are a couple of points clear of some of the other sides that are around there.
Yeah.
So, that'll be good, really. So that's what happened in Division 1. Moving on to Division 2. And I tell you what, we were wondering, were Ellenborough's next victory was coming from. And to be fair, we didn't fancy the chances when they were up against Driglington.
No, we didn't.
And what do we know? We know nothing about Community Rugby League. You might as well go and listen to Radio 1. You get more Rugby League sense of what we know than at times. But no, in all seriousness, do stay with us. Main reason is because I don't know what's in the charts. I can't start talking about Radio 1.
I didn't even know Radio 1 was still going.
No. And, anyway, Ellenborough Rangers, they've ended their long losing streak and they got this hard-fought 12-6 victory over Driglington. Danny Penman was the hero. He grabbed 2 tries and Brett Stevenson added 2 goals to seal the much-needed win. Elborough's defence tightened in the second half and their composure during key moments made all the difference. Penman's support play was outstanding throughout and no wonder if he's claiming 2 tries. So for Ellenborough Rangers, there were those 2 tries from Penman, 2 goals from Stevenson. For Driglington, a try from McIntyre and a goal from Sanderson, but going home with nothing.
Well done, Ellenborough Rangers. East Leeds had to work for it, but they kept their 100% record intact with a 22-6 win at Normanton. 4 different try scorers and 3 goals from Billy Evans made the difference in the second half. Normanton pushed East hard for an hour, but the league leaders' depth told late on. Wilson and Russell brought spark from the bench to break open the contest. Scorers there for Normanton, Barker on hand for a try, plus C. Barker on hand with a goal. East Leeds tries came from Wilson, Russell, Winley and Coleman with 3 goals from the boot of Evans. Got to say, Dave, I don't know, it's not going to make much of a difference, but East Leeds winning results have been getting lower and lower. Have you noticed?
Well, we're at that time of the year where people are going on holiday, so maybe they've lost some of the squad going on to other things, and they've found other things to do for a couple of weeks, and maybe they're away on holiday and whatnot. But maybe that's encouraged. It's very small encouragement, but I like your way of thinking. To be honest, you're always a glass half full man, and I like that. So the rest of the division is obviously catching East Leeds up.
Exactly
this is what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, they're managing to work them out.
They're not as dominant as everybody thinks with 15 wins on the board this season. Anyway,
it's just luck.
Yeah. But a team which has the look of the Irish at the moment.
See what you did there.
Dewsbury Celtic. I've got to say as well, they are marking themselves out as one of the best defensive sides that Division 2 has ever seen, in all honesty, because they've kept another clean sheet. I got posed a question on my social media from the guys at Dewsbury Celtic about whether there's been a meaner defence, because they've kept a couple of sides to 0 this year.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's no records that I can go off, so I'm willing to give him all the credit, to be honest, because it's not something that's been raised with me before. And my history with the National Conference League doesn't go back all the way either. I think without nipping in Trevor Hunt's loft and trying to get any old results from like the 1980s, I'm going to give benefit of the doubt to Dewsbury Celtic here,
that sounds like a Tales of the Unexpected. Dave Parkinson and Trevor Hunt's loft.
Dewsbury Celtic, they cruised past Skirler by 20 points to 0 with a solid all-round performance. Heaton's double and a late Windrow try capped a shutout win. Celtic controlled the middle third and strangled Skirler's possession. Windrow's return from the sin bin then saw him inject further energy and cross the line clinically. So the try in this one was scored by Hurst, who's having a magnificent season for Dewsbury Celtic. He also kicked 2 goals as well. Heaton with 2 tries, Windrow with the other. 20 points to 0 against Skirler. Notable result because Skirler have been kicking a little bit towards the bottom of that division over recent weeks, haven't they? I've picked up a couple of wins, so fair play to him. But yeah, this Dewsbury Celtic just doesn't like giving anything away, does it?
Anyway, Pilks Rex, they're shifting through the gears at the moment. They maintain the 3rd spot with a 32-6 win at Barrow Island. Callum Derrick ran in a hat-trick while Kieran Napper kicked 6 goals in a confident display. Pilks recovered from a slow start to dominate with ruthless edge play. Derrick's hat-trick highlighted their ability to isolate the defenders out wide. Scorers for Barrow Island, Dutton Rosconi with a try and also with a goal. For Pilks Rex, it was a hat-trick for Derek. Hannon and O'Connell weighed in with one each, and 6 goals from Kieran Napper. Gotta say, Callum Derek, every time I've seen him, and something to say, he's a player can really excite him because his speed of a sort of a starting run, and his balance is really good. And I think they were up against Oldham St Anne's, was it, when we saw them last up at Pilks? It might have been last season.
I've seen them a little bit earlier this season, actually, when they played against Ellenborough Rangers, actually. But yeah, I know where you're coming from. Callum's been playing a bit out on the wing over recent weeks. So again, I'm interested to sort of see. Certainly, he played wing the other week when they were at Thornhill. Took 2 neatly taken tries at the corner. Lovely passing, little bit of footwork from about 10-15 metres out. But he also has, exciting feet and some really good wheels, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So he's quick on his feet and he can step, which are 2 fine attributes for an attacking player in rugby league, definitely, aren't they?
And you've got sort of all the teams they're obviously behind East Leeds, because East Leeds 100% they're going to be difficult to touch. We say that every week, and that's not sort of making anything exaggerated. They are just at the moment that good, but you've got the likes of Celtic, you've got Pilks Rex, and you've got the team who we've got up next, Clockface.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to put them next. Actually, I was going to do a swap around because we were over at Clockface, weren't we? So we do have a little bit more to bring you as part of that game. But what I did want to do is talk about Hensingham, who are again making a fantastic charge in this division. Again, they've taken to it like a duck to water, despite losing a couple of players. So, Hensingham, they absolutely got the better of Hull Dockers, winning by 60 points to 6 in a clinical performance. Butterworth helped himself to a hat-trick with another 6 or 7 different try scorers adding to the mix. That was fantastic. Each and every score was also converted. Hensingham's backline shone in a complete team performance, and their kick chase game meanwhile stifled the Dockers, who were overwhelmed on both flanks. So Hensingham, 3 tries for Butterworth, 2 for Holgate, 1 for Branthwaite, 2 for Pierce, 1 each for Pritt and Conway. Goal split between Williamson, who bagged himself 7, and Bragg, who kicked 3. And for Hull Dockers, there was the lone try from Suddaby, which he also converted.
Yeah, Hensingham, like I was going to say before about those teams that were in that sort of mix that are going to have some real good games at the end of the season. Hensingham are in that as well, aren't they?
They're in there. They're
Hensingham, Shrewsbury,
in there.
Pilks, and obviously our next team.
Yeah, and our next team, of course, is Clockface Miners. We saw them take on Thornhill Trojans. Now, this was a first game, wasn't it, the first time that we have covered Thornhill Trojans.
Yeah.
And have we got some highlights?
We certainly have. We can just give you a roundup of what's gone on.
Rapey Pixie spot. Goes headlong at the man who transgressed Casey Johnson. It's amazing how many times that happens in rugby league, isn't it? Ball comes across to Cresser and Costello.
Good ball.
Was a super ball. And then charging his way over, Josh Mulligan over on this left-hand side of the field. Hardly anybody laid hands on him until the attempt came in from Campbell, and they've opened the scoring. That little bit of pressure was all it took. But what a line. Referee allows this to play on as Costello sends it left. Geraghty passes to no one in particular. It's cleaned up, however, by Alex Burke. Burke kicks over the top. Oh, he's chasing after this one. Is that going to stay in? Yes, it is. That is audacious. What a try from Alex Burke. He kicked over the top, and I have to say, Mikey Greensmith didn't know what had hit him. He was expecting the ball to bounce in a completely different direction, and it took a real off break straight into the arms there of Alex Burke, and he scores the second try after 22 minutes. So on we go again. This time it's Lee tries to skip away from dummy half. Nicholson took a tumble in the background. I'm not sure whether
it was
he
off
took
the
a bit,
ball.
Yeah, I think it might have been a bit of off the ball, but that's an interesting kick.
Oh, yes. Lovely little kick. The pressure started to pay off now for Thornhill, and they managed to go in that far left-hand side. Little kick in there, and they've gone down to get 4 points. Can they increase their lead, increase their score on the 29th minute mark?
I think it was Ratcliffe who scored it, to be honest. Yeah, it was a lovely kick out to that side over there. Ratcliffe was the man who chased through and touched down. Hawk back in possession. Oh, here's a run.
Yes.
Opening his legs here is Ben Daniels, approaching the halfway line. Campbell's giving up the chase. He's going all the way. Beautiful. What a run from Ben Daniels, breaking from the scrum, going fully 70, 80 metres. What a run. What a try. What a score. Early in the tackle count. It's a great kick, that. Turns the defence right around. There's big work here for the winger to do. Oh, he's lost the ball as well. He's picked up the gunner score. And touchdown on that far side. Callan Johnson picking up the pieces for Clockface Miners. I can't believe that they've actually scored from that kick. That was a huge kick down the ground from Geordie Cresser. It looked like Ben Hall had all day on the ball. But then it bounced, it bobbled, it trickled around him, and he dillied and he dallied, and the ball was lost. And picking up the pieces there for the 4th try of the game was Callan Johnson. Moved across to the left hand side. Mulligan keeps it moving. Good work from Benson. Out to Burke, who steps the line. He's gone in as Burke sailed his way over.
That's his second one, isn't it? Go on. 15 minutes gone in this second half, and Clock have gone in again just to that left hand side. Some great ball through hands over to the left hand side. Benson put in
Alex Burke in for his second.
Alex Burke in.
Cressy drifts off to the left. Puts it out to Costello. Costello just delayed his pass. Then Burke steps his way through. Hat-trick,
yes.
man. Hat-trick, 3 tries. Stepping and stuttering his way to the line. He's deserved that. He has been fantastic when the ball's reached him this afternoon. And not knock on. But the referee blows his whistle. Probably comes at the right time. He checks his watch and blows his whistle. Make sure I get it the right way around. 36 points to 4 is how it finishes here this afternoon. Clockface Miners victorious.
Off-field chill, on-field fire. Green Cooling Fuels, the Community Rugby League spirit.
Very good Clockface Miners in that game. I thought Burke added some real cutting edge, and when you added into that the likes of Benson at fullback linking in, again, good side. They're a good side, aren't they?
Yeah, I think what they are. I think once they do get in front,
they're a good leader.
Yeah, they're not frightened then to open up. They're not a team that will sit back on their laurels. They'll want to try and play rugby. I think possibly first half a little bit, not nervy, but just didn't get into the swing of things like, or suppose should do in some respects. But when they do, there's no stopping them. The forwards laid a really good platform. Their front row were really, really good.
Yeah.
And was it Mulligan at loose forward?
Also had a really strong game as well. Yeah. Very, very good. It was a good win, that. And also as well, it wasn't as if Thornhill played badly. They just got completely outgunned in the second half, didn't they? They kept it close in the first half and arguably had enough territory to be able to put more points on. It was quite similar to the Cumbrian derby that I saw on Sunday, to be honest, where Whitehaven had put a load of pressure on Workington but couldn't score. Thornhill likewise put a load of pressure on Clockface in that first half.
Yeah, definitely.
And couldn't score, they couldn't get through other than that little
I think
kick
we both
through.
mentioned that in commentary, that they were not coming away with anything. They would be disappointed with that.
I will say as well, though, that in Sam Ratcliffe, they've got a really versatile player who'll just pull out his tripe for his side. And I caught up with him afterwards, and this is what we had to say to each other.
Okay, I've been joined by Sam Ratcliffe straight from the game. Your thoughts on this one? It ended up 36 points to 4 defeat. For me, that doesn't tell the story though, because I thought you had a load of pressure in that first half. And you played some really good rugby in that period as well.
Yeah. I thought, to be fair, in first half I thought we were the better team in dribs and jabs. I think it's just a matter of lack of fitness. But as first half, I thought we were immaculate. We completed the sets. We played with the ball. We didn't actually just do what we normally do and go down middle. I thought we played really well, and we had showed a bit of courage a bit. During second half, I just thought we died off a bit. I think it was a lack of fitness mainly, but against a good clock-faced team, a very good clock-faced team. They were very well drilled. The middles were really good, and their halfbacks just dictated the play all the time, and they had a good lad at full back that were returning his kicks. Perfect. They played a perfect game, I thought.
I thought as well there was that 12-point turnaround, weren't there, when it were looking like you were going to go in on the wing just a couple of minutes into that second half, then straight from the scrum they go 90 metres.
Yeah, it's just sod's law for us, really.
Does that sum up your season, really?
Yeah, it has a bit. We just seem to start really well, and then all of a sudden it's just we're downward. Just like I say, it's just due to his fitness, but we are still a very newer team, a very young team. We've got a lot of 17, 18, 19 year olds. Some players have come from non-NCL careers and pathways to come and join us. So we are still bonding as a team. We've had obviously Johnny Campbell back in mix today, and then Casey Johnson returns, who's normally a front rower, 13, and he's done his stint in halves, and he had a really good game for us today.
And what about this number 8 position for yourself as well? You know, down the years I've seen team sheets with you at full back and in at half back and in at loose forward. What's this new role?
I'm more of a utility man. I'll whatever coach Matty says, Sam, can you do this week? It's just, yeah, no worries, mate. Can you go and be a dope in middle? Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll go and get smashed for 80 minutes. And then today I've had to jump in at full back after about 45 minutes into the game, because Johnny, the full back, come off with an injury. But it's just, they just asked me to do it, and I do it. It's a bit of an experience on me.
And like you said, you know, you've got a lot of lads that are new to the team over this last sort of 18 months. NCL's a tough and unforgiving place to learn your trade, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very tough. I were lucky enough when I first started at 16 to play in the Pennine division, so I got a bit of experience in that, where I were getting against pub teams, as we say. But some of these boys that have come in and playing, they're 17, straight from under 16s, 17, they're straight thrown in, not played any NCL, not played any open age whatsoever, they're just thrown straight in, and yeah, they're holding up.
I mean, you would think over the next sort of 2 or 3 years, those lads will get used to the rigours of this level of rugby, and things will start to look up again. You're in a bit of a transition period, really, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a transition period, and it's a transition period I'm looking forward to, because we've just currently got our under 16s. They've just gone unbeaten all year this year. They won the league last night, so I'm really looking forward to them coming in, because there is some really good players along with the players that we've got now that are younger. So I'm really looking forward to the next few years with us, because it's a rebuild.
And I've got to say as well, Sam, you know, that Thornhill continues to produce really good players, lads that have been through, you know, sort of England pathways, community Lions. Every time you look at a squad that gets picked at youth level, there tends to be a couple of Thornhill lads in there, doesn't it? You know, so it's just getting those lads through to the first team, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just getting them into it. It's like, at minute with rugby, I think when they get to 18 and they find work, they do struggle to play because they've never done it before. But they'll get used to it next year, because these lads in under 16s, they want to play. They do want to play for open age, because they train hard and they just want to be there for us. They want to be like in with our lot, out with us lads, and it's going to be good to see. But yeah, we've got a good youth. We do have a really good youth, and I'm really looking forward to it now.
It's probably why it's good, because can I say that you're an experienced player now? You know, is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, it is now.
So you get to sort of see a lot of these lads coming through, and you can directly influence them, can't you? That's a good thing, really.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Being one of the leaders, we've got obviously our captain Jake pulled up before the game, so he didn't play. So I stepped in today to be leader at middle at Park for us, and But it's nice that me and Jake have got like a bit of an understanding where he's a good cop and I just like to tell everybody off. But that's just how it is, and it works well for us. They listen to us, and the respect's there because we've done it a long time in this NCL.
In a weird way, though, with where you sit on the table, there's still this element of danger, isn't there, amongst the season? And I know that we're sort of past that halfway point now. You could do with a couple more wins in an ideal spot, couldn't you? What does your next sort of couple of weeks look like?
Well, we are in a dogfight now with relegation battle. I do agree with that. We do need to pick up wins. We've got to move on to Driglington at home next week.
That'll be a cracker jack of a game, that, won't it?
Yeah, it's a good game. We're not too far from each other, so it's a bit of so it's going to be a tough game. And then we've got a couple of tough trips. We've got Barrow Island, then we're at home to Dewsbury Celtic, and then we're at Enzingham away. So we've got
a challenging month.
Yeah, it's a challenging month. Hopefully we pick up maybe one, maybe two wins, and I'd like to say we could be safe, but it all depends on the other fixtures, because I see that scale. I keep picking wins up here and there. All Dockers are picking wins up here and there. So I'm hoping we get a couple more wins on us just to stay up.
Sam, thanks
thank you
very much for joining us afterwards. I do appreciate that. I know it's not always the easiest speaking after a defeat, but I appreciate you talking about the future and what it holds for Thornhill, and I look forward to tracking the progress of the team over the next couple of months, hoping you can get those wins, mate.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Okay. Cheers for that, mate.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.
Enjoyed having that chat with Sam. Very refreshing, you know, and
honest again.
He's right in what he says. There's a big future coming for Thornhill Trojans, and you've only got to look at the youth that has been picked and that has gone through, kind of like the trial process for England Community Lions over the last 3-4 years to understand that this is a club that produces players. But I think what they have struggled with is transitioning them into first team players. Usually they've been snapped up elsewhere after performing for England. So it's very encouraging to hear that so many of those under 16s want to stick together and want to all come through at once. It could be really exciting times for Thornhill over the next couple of seasons. But again, in the short term, for me, they're in this dogfight, and that's what Sam was alluding to there.
Tough 4 games, that, what he was saying. I could understand what he's saying when I'd like to come out with 2 wins from that. And I could argue that, he's totally right. The latter 2 are going to be tough ones, but you never know, do you, at the end of the day.
So again, thanks to Sam Ratcliffe for coming and having a chat with us. Always great to speak to different people and to hear their thoughts and comments, isn't it? And as I say, I really appreciate him giving as much time as he did in that interview, because his side ended up losing, and quite often you go into professional ranks and nobody wants to talk if they've lost. Yeah,
and it's easy to sort of look at that scoreline and think, a bit of a walkover that for Clock. It was a very competitive game, and Campbell, who was playing for Thornhill, was absolutely immense. Whether he was carrying an injury beforehand, I don't know, but he certainly pulled up a little bit and couldn't do.
It was when Davis broke through, wasn't it, for his try?
But there was one there where Clock were virtually in the corner, and he put an absolutely sweet tackle on the guy and dislodged the ball into touch as well. And it was everywhere. He was a full-back, he was on left wing, he was on right wing. He was breaking up the middle, and you need that sort of guy in there as well, like Sam as well. You know what I mean? That the youngsters will look at that and think, I can do that. I don't mind playing with these guys, because I can have a crack at trying to do that.
Yeah, so that was the thoughts from Thornhill Trojans. Let's now hear from Lee Cunningham and what he had to say to me from a clock-faced miner's point of view.
Okay, I've been joined by Lee Cunningham after the game. Lee, Do you class this as one of your more, I suppose, wins that you're happy with over the course of the season? 36 points to 4 against Thornhill today?
I've always got to be happy with that kind of scoreline, but from a performance point of view, I thought we could have been far more mature than what we kind of were at times. I thought our game management at times was kind of not where it needed to be. But once we started to get into the flow in the second half, as is so often in this season so far, with a lot of our performances, we've gone stronger in the second half. Once we started to find our feet and we kind of grew into the game, I think that's probably the better way. And certainly the second half was far more pleasing than what the first half was. So
yeah, because that first half, I'd imagine. Well, Thornhill had an awful lot of possession, an awful lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But I thought your defence, the way it coped with that was a really positive bit of your performance, really.
And something we spoke about at half time is that we went into the half time break with a lead. But we talk about field tilt, where and our field tilt in that first half was we was playing in our own half for great periods of that first half. So for us to then go out into the second period and then start to get a more even share of it, if we've slightly dominated, for us to keep scoring and then getting the ball back was a big thing. And I think our left edge today as well, we picked out that there was a disconnect between their left centre and left half back, so hence Alex Burke scoring an hat-trick and Geordie Eccleston, our second rower, being as dominant as what he was on that edge. But that's playing rugby at an higher level, isn't it? You find that crack and if we can exploit it, then fair dues.
I mean, you had that 12-point turnaround as well, where right at the start of the second half, they're applying the pressure, they look like they're going to go in at the corner, forward pass, ball sails into touch, whatever happened, straight from the scrum. 90 metres up the other end. I mean, those are game changers.
Absolutely. And what a talent he is, Ben Daniels. Reminds me a lot of Kevin Iro when probably from our era. He just glides across the surface and he doesn't seem to be moving that fast.
And then suddenly it just goes zing, 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 and he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah, it's no catching him. So a real pleasure for somebody as old as me to see somebody as young as that doing as playing as confidently as what he was, and I went mad with him at one stage towards the end of the game there, where I think it was second tackle and he did a little tip and chase. But when you look back, you think, he's 19, 20 years of age and he's trying something like that. He's got the courage and confidence to go and do something like that. So
I suppose in a way that's like backing your talent, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's kind of what you want to see in one respect. You want it to be perhaps a little bit more controlled in a different sort of place.
So I've got to champion that. And do you know what? Go out and play with freedom, kid. That's what we aim to try to allow them to have fun, isn't it? We want to entertain people, and that's what people want to come down and pay £3 at the turnstile for, type thing. But there's a learning process to go with that as well, and we've got to be accountable and say, look, was that the right decision to do at that time? I'm not so sure.
I will say the lads that you had in your front row as well. I mean, all of them. Your front rowers were absolutely brilliant. I mean, given this weather, we started in like little bits of trickly rain, and it's ended up with like blazing heat.
Tell me about it, my head. So. We're coming bright red like a Swan Vesta match, but the thing is about them, we've got two 18-year-olds as prop forwards who are just probably 18, 19 stone apiece, and they're really giving us a fantastic platform to play off at this moment in time. Them going forward and doing the things that they do in the middle is then allowing Lewis Garrity and Geordie Cresser to be doing their things out on the edges. It's pleasing to see that things that you've been working on in training comes off, and all credit to these young lads who's putting their hand up and going up against much more experienced campaigners.
Do you see your team developing as the season goes on? Because I know when we spoke, I think you'd won something like 6 of the first 9 games, and you weren't happy with any of them particularly. No. Do you feel you're getting that sort of starting to get towards that level of performance that you want, really?
I think there's as with every game, you're going to go through good patches and bad patches, and we're starting to learn to make our good patches grow a little bit more. So as far as game management goes, yes, we are improving, but we've still got one hell of a journey in front of us to go with that. I spoke with Paul the other day, my assistant, and he's, we're not doing this, or we're not doing that, I'm not happy with this. I said, yeah, but look what they are doing from the journey, even the stuff like making the tackle and driving people back, or today, I was really happy with the fact that the forwards are taking us forward, go forward with that middle, and like I said, as I said previously there with the half-backs, they're now seeing the space and playing the space instead of having, before the ball's even been played, I'm going to do this play just because I want to get the ball in his hands, or because I like doing that play. We've got to be better than that, we've got to be beyond that now, and where's the space, and that's what we'll exploit and turn that space into what we call functional space, where it's what we can use, so that's been a big message over the last kind of maybe 2 or 3 weeks at training, and we are taking forward steps, so yeah, I congratulate him for that.
I also like your 2 young nines as well, I know that circumstances mean that you probably had to put one in who's probably not been getting a lot of rugby this season, and then we saw, was it Armin in the second half playing a bit of back row as well? That gives you real versatility within your squad, doesn't it?
Massively. And to be fair, Ozzy, over the last 2 seasons where I've been in this role, has played quite literally. He's played on the wing for me against one of the old teams last year. He's played centre, he's played in the halves, he's grew up as an halfback. When you speak to him, what position do you want to play? Oz? I want to play 9. We have Kenny Hughes, who's like just an amazing player, a warrior and a half. But once Kenny retires, Ozzy sees himself as filling into that. And we spoke with Danny Tabbs, who's been the halfback with him today. And we've also got Scott Honey coming through, and there's a plethora of hookers coming through for us at the club who are all highly talented, Keen Stanaway. So what we've said is we can develop that and work with that, and if we can get some versatility with them lads who are playing at 9, and we can have a Kieran Cunningham, James Rober kind of combination there with a bigger man and a faster man coming off the bench, but also then with the likes of Scott Honey who's outstanding, and Kean coming off as well, whether they can fit in at the halves or whether they can fit in at fullback, and like Nathan Benson today was unlucky on one of them kicks, but he's such a clever link player, really. It just fills me with excitement, that we're talking, the oldest of these lads are 20 years of age, and there's a lot of 19 and 18, lads who are still eligible for under 18s, and they're ripping it up in NCL, so it just fills me with a lot of excitement.
That's what bodes particularly well, isn't it? And like we've talked about, sport is cyclical, isn't it? So if you can foster this next cycle of talent that's coming through, that'll set this club up for about 10 years, right?
Honestly, just so. And I know we spoke about it pre-game, but the biggest thing that I really want to try to do is build them legacies about if we can keep this group together, and that's a big ask, to keep a group of lads together for so many years, and if we can develop the second team who this year have played every game that they've been put in front of them, they've not turned the game down, so hopefully next year we can put that second team in a division that's a proper fixture division every week, so there's lots of positives about the club, and we just got to carry on creating legacies and build a winning culture. That's the success brings success, don't it?
I mean, this one keeps you, entrenched in that top 3, top 4 of the competition, which is a good place to be in at this spot of the season. What does your next couple of games look like?
So next week we've got Normanton away, which it just big ask, and then the week after, I've just been told. There could be something going on, but it's the Dewsbury Celtic game the week after. So it's could be a tough gig, that one. I really rate Dewsbury Celtic very highly. Really tough team, and I think that'll be a big test for us that day. And then the following week, Pilks away.
speaking about, Dewsbury Celtic, they've been going under the radar. We've not spoken about them on the show half as much probably as we should have done. And they're arguably the best defensive side within the competition.
Absolutely, I kind of go on social media and stuff like that, and if you have a look at on their website, I think it was, that they've actually employed somebody to look after the ruck control and this year, and what you can tell that, by the way, when they're playing, it's paying dividends for him. So absolutely all power to him. At the end of the day, if you control the ruck, you control the game. It's them little smarts that if you've got somebody like that who can come down and make a difference to your club, I just think as a coaching group or a club, you've got to be open-minded to that. So absolutely all credit to him. Defence wins matches, and they're doing defence better than anybody else right now in our division, and that's above even East Leeds, who, as people know, I rate very highly as a possible challenger this year, for going forward.
Lee, I always appreciate a conversation with you. We could do this all night.
Absolutely,
to be honest,
mate,
I know that we could just go on and on. But I also know as well that you've got other commitments. So we'll call it there. But thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you, pal.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Always welcome down at Clockface. Those were the last words in that little interview. I'm picking out a couple of things that I ended up saying. I think I swallowed a dictionary at the weekend.
Yeah.
Audacious.
I know.
Cyclical.
I know.
And then speaking to Lee then, zing, zing, zing.
That's about 4,000 points at Scrabble you've got there. A triple letter. Whoa.
Yeah. Don't know how.
Zing, zing, zing.
Zing, zing, zing. Yeah, that was describing that try from Ben Davis. But no, great to speak with Lee then.
He's Mr. Positive, isn't he, Lee? Every time you talk to him, you spoke to him, I've spoken to him, and he's not got one sort of negative in his body. Everything, there's a positive that comes out of him.
Oh, definitely.
Everything.
Yeah. He's a great bloke, and he just sums up where community rugby league can get to, and if you've got somebody so positive behind the scenes, you're going to want to do everything that you can for them. And I get the feeling that this young side, which is building its maturity, yes, it still falls down on occasion, in sort of the management and kicking in incorrect places and coming up with a couple of errors here and there, but they're getting there, aren't they? And for me, they're a very solid side in that level of rugby league this year.
Yeah, very much so. And as he was saying, and as I commented earlier, once they'd got comfortable is the wrong word, because they weren't that far away, out of sight to start really throwing her about. I mean, they were in a winning position.
There was still a bit of confidence there, which sort of surged, and it was a surge of confidence, wasn't it? Which then built into the rest of the half. Yeah,
and Garrity and Crescent at half back, I mean, are a solid pair. They're experienced, and they lead that team about. And as we were saying on the day, for him to say that the age of those front rowers, that has astonished me, because they've played like veterans. yeah, they were absolutely superb. But as I said, we commented on the day that they'd set the platform there, and they do play good, attractive football, don't they?
So that was the game. That was Clockface Miners 36, Thornhill Trojans 4 in Division 2. Moving on to Division 3 now, and Bentley, they pulled off a memorable 20 points to 18 comeback win against Saddleworth Rangers. They actually trailed at one point by 18 points to 0, and they rallied with 2 Marty Hall tries and Scott Smith's second half winner. Bentley's turnaround was rooted in the second half composure and smart kicking. It always comes off smart kicking and just generally working your socks off, doesn't it, to get back within the game. The forwards began to dominate the ruck, and that allowed for decisive attacking shape. So for Bentley, there were those 2 tries from Hall, 1 each from Bates and Smith, 2 goals from the boot of Lewis. And then for Saddleworth, who put themselves in a great position early on, they'd scored 3 tries and 3 conversions through Charles, Enziano and Taylor. Bradbury kicking 3 goals.
Meanwhile, Keithley Albion snatched a 32 points to 22 victory over Beverley with a strong late surge Josh Tenniswood and Jeremy Stevenson got over in the final 10 minutes to complete the turnaround. Keithley showed grit and patience, weathering a spirited Beverley first half. Hudson's goal kicking ensured their comeback effort paid off. Keithley Albion tries were scored by Denton, Blakely and Robinson, and 2 for Tenniswood, 1 for Stevenson, and Hudson kicked 4 goals. For Beverley, it was tries for Newton, Matthews, Burnett and Hardy. Goals came from 2 for Hardy and 1 for Dobson.
Featherstone Lions, they're now just 2 points away from the top of the division, and they were ruthless in a 42 points to 4 success over Millham. 8 tries and 5 conversions were scored. Those 5 goals coming through the boot of Liam Kay to continue what has been over recent weeks red hot form. Featherstone's expansive style dismantled Millham's defence. Allman and Smith led the charge with superb support runs and offload awareness. So, for Featherstone Lions, 2 tries from Smith, 2 tries from Allman, 1 try each for Walker, Nicholson, Metcalf and Howcroft, with 5 goals from the boot of Kay. And then young winger Waitman getting in for Millham's only try. Just speaking about Waitman though, he's only 17, so he's another one that has a long rugby league playing future in front of him. I'm really pleased for Featherstone Lions this season, because they've had it a little bit rough over the last couple of years, but Daz Fisher really has put together a good competitive squad for this level of rugby. And as I say, they're currently 4th, but they're one of 3 teams that is on 16 points, and the 2 leaders of the division, you've got Bentley, who are top with 18 points, Keithley Albion top with 18 points, and then Saddleworth, Featherstone and Waterhead Warriors with 16 points. So it's warming up to something special, isn't it?
Yeah, Milford grabbed a huge away win at Lee East, turning around a 10-point deficit to win 20 points to 8. Late tries from Tham and Clark were converted by Carewood to seal it. Milford capitalised on Lee East's late fatigues. Tham and Clark ran strong lines, and Carewood clutch kicking saw them over the line. So Lee East's tries came 2 from Mercer, 1 from Aspinall, 3 goals from Holland, whilst Milford's tries came from Brown, Tham and Clark, with Lockwood and Carewood having 3 goals. Got to say, I think last week I certainly tipped Lee East to turn that one round, because what you saying that they have similar sorts of pitches?
Yes, very much so. Yeah. So there was that was the only difference for me, and I just think the way that I saw Milford play on their own pitch a couple of weeks ago against Millham, I was thinking that, whoa, they're going to come good in this second half of the season. Yeah. And they're getting a couple of really positive results now. And they're, as daft as it sounds, they're not out of playoff contention. They're now on 10 points. Lee East has dropped to 6th place with 14 points. So they're only a couple of wins off the pace.
Yeah. Lee East, if they can get back on the horse again with the win, pushes them straight back in.
Yeah, but again, they're not too far away from the top of the division either, aren't they? Lee East, but they've just had crucial points this season when you've thought, there's the potential there for Lee East to go on and run, and actually, really start to, I suppose, get a bit of dominance in this division. It's not quite happened for them, and again, I know that it's the age-old problem with different teams every week and different combinations, but it's community rugby, isn't it, these days in 2025. Myton Warriors, meanwhile, they had a notable result, and they kind of stepped up their efforts with a 46 points to 4 win against Dissington. It was a multi-try blitz. Tyler Fisher grabbed a hat-trick and also kicked 3 goals in a dominant team performance, and Myton's forward pack, but they set the tone with real physical dominance. Tyler Fisher's all-round display, tries, goals, defensive efforts, that was the backbone of their win. So, for Myton Warriors, there was 2 tries for Ben, 2 tries for Slater, 3 tries for Fisher, like we talked about. Wall and Walker also going in for tries. 2 goals from the boot of Greg, 3 from the boot of Fisher. And for Dissington, well, I think the try scorer sums up what they suffered in the game, because it was pain.
It certainly was.
So 46 points to 4. Dissington again, they've been so up and down this season, and as I say, they're not out of pushing on for a end of season playoff spot
challenge. Yeah.
However, what will count against them is their point difference. So it seems that when they've lost big. They've got a minus point difference of 135. Around them, you've got Lee East, who are plus 36, Milford, who are minus 76. And then you've got Mighton Warriors. So Mighton Warriors have been in minus points for so much of the season.
Oh.
And then they've gone and put 46 points against Dissington. They're now on plus 47 point difference. So that is a real valuable and an excellent performance from Mighton. Well done to them this week.
It certainly is. Well, that's it. That's the roundup this week of all 4 divisions, and we'll see what's next on the cards. What's coming up this weekend, Dave?
Well, we've got loads and loads of games to tell you about, starting with the Premier Division. Dewsbury Moor Maroons at home against Rochdale Mayfield. That's over at Dewsbury Moor. 2:30 kick-off, as it is for most of these games, to be fair. And they'll be fancying the chances on the quiet there. Dewsbury Moor, they're on a roll, 2 wins in succession. Rochdale Mayfield, we've talked about how
wobble,
inconsistent they've been in recent weeks. This isn't an easy game by any stretch of the imagination for Mayfield. Over at Lock Lane, it doesn't get any easier for them. They're welcoming Siddal, and this is a Siddal side that'll have been licking the wounds for a week, isn't it? Thanks to that narrow loss against West Bowling. The saving grace there is that Lock Lane are at home, and generally they've been better at home, haven't they?
They have, but it's still a tough task against Siddal.
What do you make of the next one, though, Steve?
Next one, Thatto Heath against West Bowling. Yeah. So we've got Thatto Heath, who, tongue-in-cheek, we criticise each week for the performances away from home. And what did they do? They go and have an absolutely stellar away win. But they're at home against West Bowling, who obviously have got that win against Siddal. If Thatto Heath bring the whole home game to the match, because when they do play, they play really, really well at home. This could be certainly the game of this division. Crusaders, I reckon, could I reckon they could just pip this one.
And the next one?
The next one, we've got, Wath Brow Hornets versus Ultits ARLFC. Wath Brow, both of these, I suppose, to a certain degree, are a bit hit and miss, aren't they? Although Hunslet has started on the hit run. They've had, 6 wins out of the last 7, something like that. Wath Brow sort of win a couple, lose a couple, and it's as though they've been a bit bitty in their performances. Obviously, they lost to Thatto Heath Crusaders last time out. Hunslet, I'm sure, will feel that they've got the edge on things, and that wouldn't surprise me, Hunslet coming away with a win.
A win for Hunslet would take them into the top 6.
So I'm sure that's what they'll certainly be looking for.
I'll take this next one. So you said that Thatto and West Bowling was going to be a cracker. Yeah. This one's going to be immense. West Hull at home to Waterhead Warriors. So it's 2nd versus 4th. I know that Waterhead were disappointed when they'd lost to West Hull earlier on in the season, and that's a real mark of how far they have come, isn't it?
Yep.
This has the potential to be an absolute crackerjack of a game. I still fancy West Hull based on home form, but that is going to be close. And it wouldn't surprise me if Waterhead were also able to turn the tables.
Yeah, as much as we're going to get a load of stick for this, I agree with you. I think West Hull at home. Waterhead Warriors are having a fantastic season. This is probably one of the toughest tests this season, going away to West Hull.
Do York Acorn get back on the horse this week? They've got a home game against the Lee Miners Rangers side that is averaging about 10 points a game scored.
Yeah, I think so. I think York Acorn will edge this one myself.
Division 1, and again, some great games. Egremont Rangers at home this time against Wigan St Pats. For me, this is a must-win for Egremont Rangers. Depending on results elsewhere, this would move them either 4 or 6 points ahead of Crossfields and that bottom 3.
And what have Wigan St Pat's got riding on this?
Wigan St Pat's, well, that a win for Egremont would see them rise above Wigan St Pat's and probably put them into a bit of a relegation scramble.
So this is a big game.
It's a massive game. Yeah, it's a huge game, this at Egremont.
Because the both clubs that are in so much in different form. 2 big clubs as well. You know, they're... I'm going to take Egremont Rangers, certainly at home.
Okay. Oldham St Anne's, they're at home against Kells. Again, 2 very, very similar clubs. You've got Kells who are 6th, Oldham St Anne's 7th. Just a point separates them in the league, and point difference is only very narrow as well. So you've got Oldham St Anne's plus 28, Kells plus 39.
I think Kells could do a number here myself. I just feel that they're the sort of team that have been winning games that we've not thought they would win at times, and then possibly losing some that you thought, well, do you know what, you probably could have won that one. But I've just got a feeling for Kells.
3rd place Eworth, they're away at Alton Raiders. Alton will have to put in a really, really stellar performance, won't they, at home, I think, to get anything.
Yeah, I think Eworth will win this one. Alton Raiders are full of energy and you know, sort of a youthful team. But I think Eworth, just we've said it all season. Well, we haven't, because they've gone under the radar for the first part of it. But now we're saying it. They're in that sort of mix who want to get, I'm sure, automatic promotion. So. I can't see Alton Raiders winning that one. Yeah,
and to be fair, the 3-point Heworth this is, they're only 3 points away from the summit of the division, and only 1 point now behind Ince Bridge, who we've been, you know, singing the praise of all through the season. Speaking of Ince Bridge, they're away at Stanley. I'll let you take this one away, Steve.
Well,
I'm sitting well on the fence here.
Stanley, the ones who really are the dark horses and have grown into this season. Ince Bridge having a little bit of a stutter, I think, at the moment. Will they play the same sort of game? I'm going to take Stanley. Just.
What about Woolston? So Woolston currently rock bottom of this division. A point difference of minus 333. They've conceded 505 points up against the leaders of the comp, who've scored 440 points and have a point difference of 224 in Wigan St Judes. Can they hold St Judes back?
No. Simple as that. I don't think. Certainly, if it had been away, I would still took Judes, but I probably would have been more of a competition. But Judes at home are, you know, we've seen them. They're a different beast. You know, like we were on about earlier on about some of the other teams, Thatto Heath, for instance. Judes are a similar sort of team. They play really well at home, and they obviously get good support as well, which is massive. I'm sure Woolston will take some supporters down there with them.
Now, if results go elsewhere in Division 2, a win for East Leeds could see them pick up the championship.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, you know, so I mean, this will be prolonged. Probably
that won't be a shock. You know what I mean?
No, but this will be prolonged a little bit longer. To be fair, because Dewsbury Celtic aren't in action this week.
That's right.
You know, and they're the nearest challenger.
Yeah.
But I think East Leeds were either talking 1 win or 2 wins away from claiming this championship, which is nice to get it done so early, really, isn't it, into a season. And I wish that this was the other way about this fixture, because it does have a little bit riding on it. They're at home against Hensingham or East Leeds, and again, I think had they been going up to Cumbria, I would have been rating Hensingham's chances a little bit better. But I'm sure that they'll put a full-blooded effort in. But we've been talking about it all season. Teams have been getting closer, but those wins have still been notching up for East Leeds, haven't they?
Yeah, I suppose what you've got to ask, are Hensingham the team that could get closest to East Leeds, or by the one who loses by less? Because that's how it's been all season. The next one, Normanton Knights against Clotface.
Yeah, you heard my reaction when I was discussing it with Lee Cunningham. I sort of winced and went, ooh, that's a toughie. This is a toughie for Clotface Miners. Normanton Knights currently sitting in the 6th position, and this is where the scramble is. So there's going to be a bit of a scramble above, because Hensingham's got 20 points, Clockface 21, Pilks Rex on 21, and Dewsbury Celtic on 24. East Leeds well away. But below that, you've got Normanton with 14 points, Barrow Island with 12 points, Driglington with 12 points. And any one of those three sides could force their way into playoff contention. So there's more riding on this game, I think, for Normanton.
Yeah.
They need a win to keep just ahead of the chasing pack on them. Will they be good enough against Clockface Miners? Well, I rate this Clockface Miners side and the way that Lee has them set up and what they're going to do. For me, it depends on how many changes he's going to have to make to his team, and undoubtedly, when you're going away in the NCL, that's a different side that you take than the one that shows up at the Rec every other week.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be very, very close. I couldn't call it. Okay, couldn't call it. Honestly, I couldn't at all. Moving on. Speaking of another one, which is an important one, Pilks up against Hull Dockers. Yeah,
and although Hull Dockers have been fighting a little bit more over recent weeks, and if they can jag a couple more results, then it really does open the division up somewhat towards the bottom end. I just think that Pilks are going to be a little bit too strong for them. I fancy the extra pace that Pilks has amongst the back line as being the main counterbalance in this game, and I just think that Pilks will play towards that back line as they have done for the most of the season. They're a side that scored 408 points in the 15 competitive games. They're up against the leakiest defence within the comp, who have conceded 594 in 15 games. I can only see Pilks winning that one, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Pilks will be looking to try and put some distance between themselves and Clockface Miners, because if Clock do win against Normanton Knights, it's not going to be by many, and I'm sure Pilks will want to try and get that points difference away from each other.
The next one, though, I can't call. So Skirler, who have 4 wins to their credit this season, up against Ellenborough, who ended their long losing streak at the weekend, and there isn't much between them. When you look at things like how many points they've scored, Ellenborough still bottom of the division with those 2 wins, but will that win they had last week buoy them on to better things? They need victory. Again, for me, Ellenborough need that win, and that would really close up the bottom end of this division. That would make it something to absolutely stand out over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a really tight one. I would just edge Skirler with it being at home. That's the only difference I would think would be would separate them.
Would you say the same about Thornhill at home this weekend against Driglington? Again, we heard Sam Ratcliffe talk all about it before, and said he's expecting a tough game, but certainly one of those which will be pretty competitive.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I mean, at Thornhill, I suppose it depends as well of. Because they took off a few knocks, didn't they, in that game? And we saw a couple of their players coming off injured. It depends what team they can put out.
Yeah, they could do with patching Campbell up and getting him out there again, couldn't they?
Definitely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so that'll be very, very tight. And yeah, I don't know. Possibly just Thornhill edge it because of home form. I don't know. It's that tight.
And then Division 3. And there is some really, really good games this week. Starting off with Dissington at home against Featherstone Lions. If Dissington are going to start their run for the playoffs, it's got to start in this game, hasn't it? They've got to beat Featherstone Lions at home. There's so much more riding on this game for Dissington than there is for Featherstone Lions, and I do not say that lightly.
I think Featherstone Lions, though, have really, as you said, I've really got their act together this season, and I can see Featherstone Lions just pipping that on.
Do you see an upset of the form book with Milford defeating Keighley Albion? Milford having the home advantage. Like I said, they're playing on a 4G surface. If we're in for a warmer weekend, that could really have a bit of an influence, couldn't it?
Possibly. But what I do think, again, as much as we said Featherstone Lions have got their act together, Keighley Albion have probably been the surprised us all, haven't they? And you know, have been really, really good for the first time in the NCL.
Yeah, and to be fair as well, I mean, like when they're winning, they're not winning by many, but they've won far more than they've lost this season, haven't they? You know, so if it's a close run thing, you tend to fancy Keighley Albion, wouldn't you? Because of their other wins that they've managed to get over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Millham, unfortunately, it's not happened too much for them this season. They've been competitive at times, but have lost big at others in the course of the season. The saving grace with this one up against Bentley, who are top of the division, is that it's at home, and Bentley will have to do quite a hefty travel from Hull. From South Yorkshire, sorry.
South Yorkshire, yeah. For me, it's Bentley. Millham have been competitive, but unfortunately not being able to get enough, you know, over the line enough in the sense of getting the wins. But at Bentley, you know, again, really good.
And in our final look at the crystal ball for this week, it's Saddleworth Rangers at home against Lee East.
Yeah. I think was Saddleworth at the moment.
So Saddleworth are third within the competition, 8 wins, 5 defeats. Lee sixth with 7 wins and 6 defeats.
Yeah, I think Saddleworth will probably just edge this as much as it pains me to say it, because I'd like to see Lee East go on a good run and get up there, a bit higher up, because at the beginning of the season we thought, what's happening with the season?
Yeah.
But when you looked at it, and they were, you know, sort of got to lofty heights of about 4th, I think. But I just think Saddleworth might have the edge there.
So that's our thoughts. We'll put the crystal ball away for another week. Stop playing with that near the try line, Steve. Put it back on its shelf. We'll look at it again next week.
You've got to take your ball away with you this weekend, haven't you?
What another? It's a different shape ball
different
that I'm going to be looking at this weekend. Yeah, we're got a bit of football coming up.
I don't know football. I don't know what's the thing. What's the world coming to?
I can't reply to that really, but you know, we hope that you have really enjoyed the show this week. We always love bringing this to you. My thanks go out to Sam Ratcliffe. His thoughts were greatly appreciated, and to Lee Cunningham, and to yourself, Steve.
Thank you very much, sir. Don't forget to follow us on all our social channels on X, also on Facebook as well.
And a reminder of those words of the week: audacious, cyclical, zing, zing, zing.
Zing, zing, zing. Where the strings of my heart. See you next week.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.